Hey girl, hey, I'm super excited that you're joining me on the YouTube channel this week. I'm Deborah Cheek, founder of Believing Wives, and we've just begun a new series called Live Unoffended. We kicked it off last week with a hard question. Are you petty? It's an interesting introduction, so I encourage you to go back and check it out. We ended that video discussing how pettiness is a symptom of offense. That may seem odd, but pettiness often shows up because offense has taken root in your heart. Let's look at what offense is. See, offense can be defined as annoyance or resentment brought about by a perceived insult or disregard of someone's standards or principles. Offense shows up as something minor or petty, like an annoyance, but can become something bigger and much stronger, like resentment. It doesn't even have to be caused by something that actually happened, it can be perceived. So, whether the action is real or perceived, offense is dangerous. I did some research and I found this on BibleTools.org. The Greek word scandalon is translated offense or offenses in the Bible. This word, scandalon, is the trigger of a trap on which bait is placed. When an animal touches the trigger to eat the bait, the trap springs shut and the animal is caught. When used in a moral context, scandalon indicates the enticement to conduct which will ruin the person in question. So it's a trap that's set to lure someone so that they can be devoured. Did you hear that definition? Offense is something that the enemy uses to lure us into behaving in a manner that will ultimately cause us harm. That's why we're cautioned in Hebrews 12:15. Look after each other so that none of you fails to receive the grace of God. Watch out that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, corrupting many. Offense doesn't stay stagnant. It grows. There's a poisonous root that grows and it corrupts many. Think about it. When we're offended, we spend way too much time focusing on who or what hurt us. And then it affects others because we tell people how we were offended, what was done to us, and how unfair it was. It poisons us and it poisons others. Offense can affect so much in our lives. It affects our mental health. It can damage our self-worth. It can reinforce our insecurities. It can damage our relationships. It causes us to build walls so that no one will ever hurt us again. And this is why we're talking about offense on this platform. John Bevere says it this way in his book called The Bait of Satan. This truth remains. Only those you care about can hurt you. You expect more from them. After all, you've given more of yourself to them. The higher the expectations, the greater the fall. Your spouse is the closest one to you, and therefore the one with the most access to hurt you and potentially cause an offense. Now, we're going to talk about the difference between hurt and offense in an upcoming video. But for now, we just need to understand that our spouses are the ones who have the most opportunity to offend us. And if we don't address those potential offenses and heal from them, we can become hard-hearted, cold, distant, and sabotage our relationships. Offense can make us become stuck. It causes us to keep going back to what was said, to keep going back to what happened, to keep it on repeat in our minds and allow it to grow deeper and deeper into our hearts. Offense blinds us. It causes us to only see through the lens of what happened to us, what they did. It causes us to not be able to see that maybe this is a good person that had a bad moment, or maybe just I misunderstood what they said, or maybe I had a role to play in this too. We get blinded by the offense. Again, offense is dangerous. How do we know if offense has lodged in our hearts? Well, it shows up in how we talk to people and how we talk about them. It shows up in how we feel when a person who we may have an issue with enters the room. It shows up in who or what we spend our time thinking about. Offense can be consuming. And it is truly a trap that the enemy uses to pit us against each other and cause us to sabotage our own relationships. But we don't have to live this way. I'm going to leave you with one final thought about offense. Offense is an indicator that there is something unresolved in our own hearts. When we begin to feel offended, something within us has been triggered or set off, and we need to dig in to see what that is. Just like a car has a check engine light, the temptation to be offended is signaling that something needs to be checked, healed, or addressed in our hearts. And maybe we need to start paying attention to that. Maybe we need to start asking, why does this offend me? Is it touching something that happened years ago? Is there something I haven't dealt with? Maybe we need to start looking to see why we are offended by some things. Well, that's enough for now. We're doing some serious heart work as we commit to live unoffended. I know it's challenging, but it's going to be so worth it. Join me next week for the next installment in this series. It's going to be so good. Keep growing and allowing God to do a great work in your life. And remember, changed wives change lives.